Hi there everyone, Kevin Rustagi here. My last blog entry was in April 2007 and I am delighted to join you here in July 2012 after my MIT experience. I graduated about a year ago and I just want to thank Chris Peterson, MIT admissions officer, for inviting me on to share with you guys. Now back in April 2007 I wrote a long text entry without any links or videos, so now that technology has advanced and I'm making this video with my phone, I'm here to share the story with you live. So MIT is an extremely fascinating place, and I think most people would agree with that. But as a recent alum, I'd like to explore that a little bit further and talk about what that means to me. I'm going to provide a little extra context here, but I'm mainly following the entry as you can see below, which does have links. So I came to MIT in April 2007 for my own campus preview weekend as an admitted pre-frosh. And before I walked into the check-in, I had to ask myself a few questions. I also spoke with my mom a lot about it. You know, did I really want to go to MIT? Was it the place I understood it to be? Was it my first choice? Was it a place where I'd meet future business partners? Would I really learn to think like an engineer? And as I was talking about, be exposed to startups. It was a long-term dream of mine. Would it take me, a fresh 18-year-old, and put out one of those people that understands the world more deeply, that sees beyond limits, that sees opportunities? My freshman seminar professor, Dr. Ed Selden, is a big fan of late 1800s machinery that he would actually repair himself. He told us that most people see a building and they just see the outside, the front face, brick, metal, glass. But what he wanted us to see as MIT engineers is beyond that. What's beneath the face? What holds up the face? What's behind that? The HVAC, all kinds of stuff like that. Beyond that, who's inside the building? And even internal to that, what's the structure? What are the layers? Evidently, I went to MIT to learn X-ray vision, and why not? So as I went through my engineering courses, I did begin to see the layers. And beyond that, to my interest in startups, they even let me take the class. It's a class that's pretty famous at the business school, Sloan, called New Enterprises. Now it's taught by Bill Aulett as well as Howard Anderson. Bill Aulett's the head of the MIT Entrepreneurship Center, the Trust Center. And Howard Anderson is a former venture capitalist who actually turned down a scruffy Harvard undergrad a few years back who had some website. Apparently the guy's name was Mark Zuckerberg and the website was Facebook. Fun story. I actually ended up auditing the class as a sophomore with my laser-etched business card team. Laser-etched business cards look like this. They're made of, my last iteration was anodized aluminum, and you can see the link below for further details. And even with the team that I'm still with now here at Ministry of Supply. What's that? I'll tell you in a little bit. It's the space I'm currently in. See, MIT provided resources, whether that was alumni, free venture mentoring, or just a really awesome thesis advisor. Professor Maria Yang helped me evolve the thesis that you'll see the link to below. I've actually got a bunch of interviews with MIT entrepreneurs about the early design process, from taking an idea from concept to early implementation. Most of all, MIT provided me with something completely unique, the accountability and motivation among friends to get stuff done, which in startup speak is GSD. Halfway through MIT, my good friend Anshul Baggi sat me down and told me to quit the student government, which we were both a part of. And he said I could stay, but that I would really be much happier starting my own project. Now what struck me here is the amazing amount of courage and candor that I saw, you know, to really sit me down as a peer, unafraid of what I might say, and gracefully tell me that I could do so much more. This kind of thing is a hallmark of real leadership. We actually ended up joining the Gordon Engineering Leadership Program at MIT, which didn't hurt, ended up connecting us with real entrepreneurs like Bill Warner, who founded Avid, Vanu Bose, the son of Amar Bose, who founded Bose, which MIT actually now owns a majority stake in. And beyond just connecting us, helped us learn how to get projects off the ground in a real way. Anshul ultimately inspired me to take the leap and actually start my own company. In fact, when we lived in the same and were part of the same fraternity, I would come to him and say, Anshul, I have something so exciting to tell you. If you know me, I often do this. And he would say, oh, you've started your company? He knew it had always been a dream of mine, and I would respond just kind of crestfallen, going, no, I'm sorry, I haven't. I admit the feeling of selling my first laser cards, as I called them, was completely exhilarating. I sold them to a friend of mine, a student at Berkeley. They were wrapped in stolen MIT copy paper. These were beautiful plexiglass cards. I had stayed for 3 hours in the lab cutting them. And the feeling of giving those cards to him and having him return to me a basic check that said, hey, this has value, this is cool, was just exhilarating. It was the same kind of feeling that people tell me they get when they skydive, a rush of dopamine, to get all chemistry on it. Frankly, it's addictive, one, and two, luckily it's also productive. Currently, Anshul and I are both working on our own companies. He's in Bangalore, India, doing Camp K through 12, a camp teaching Android programming to high school students and middle school students. And I'm here in Boston creating the next generation of business apparel at Ministry of Supply. I'm actually wearing some of our dress shirts, or I'm wearing one of our dress shirts and one of our undershirts right now. MIT ultimately did introduce me to one of my business partners, Gihan Amarasirwardena, a fellow 2011 who was studying chemical engineering and, like me, loved and loves designing consumer products. We met as part of the Gordon program in a class known as Engineering, Innovation, and Design. He shared his interests with me, and I shared with him a list of all the product design classes I'd found at MIT. Between us, we ended up splitting them up and pretty much completing the entire curriculum. From the senior design class 2009, where I helped design a stretcher for mountain rescue, to Neil Gershwin's famous How to Make Almost Anything, where Gihan ended up designing, among many things, a CNC or computer navigational controlled fabric cutter. This is kind of a premonition of things to come, as you can see. From there, we've gone on a journey, taking the iterative design process we learned at MIT to kind of the early startup days, living in a dormant MIT fraternity, eating day-old bagels, building a bunk bed out of a broken futon, and sleeping with that in a walk-in closet together, to now the exciting news, going on Kickstarter.com and seeing amazing traction with our latest product, that's essentially a dress shirt that's extremely breathable, anti-odor, anti-wrinkle, and even uses some technology developed for NASA to store and release heat. One of our early co-founders and partners, Eddie Abrupta, still at MIT, actually now works at SpaceX. Really cool. We got some cool press as well. You can see that below. Forbes, I achieved my dream of being in popular science. Funny story, it actually motivated me to come to MIT. I read a story that you can see below about MIT students creating a disco floor out of LEDs. What you saw in print as well, they included a story that an MIT undergrad actually got a date while soldering these LEDs with the girl that he liked from down the hall. So I guess my main message here out of all of these things is that MIT teaches you more than engineering. It teaches you not just to see the layers, the structure, what's behind systems, but it teaches you to see more than anything potential. It teaches you to see not just what is, but what can be. And that is something that I'll never forget. So I just want to conclude by saying thanks for watching this. If you made it to the end, I again have a shameless plug for my company, Ministry of Supply. Feel free to check it out at ministryofsupply.com. If you're thinking about applying to MIT, please do. If you have any questions, feel free to email me at kevin@ministryofsupply.com, or of course you can always call the MIT admissions desk. It's just an amazing place, one of the coolest places I know, and I hope that you can share it with us. Thanks so much, and have a good day.